In other news, just hours after briefing President-elect Donald Trump, the U.S. intelligence community announced that it has high confidence Russian President Vladimir Putin personally ordered a hacking operation to try and sway the 2016 election. Now, according to a declassified report by U.S. intelligence agencies, they assessed, quote, with high confidence, that Russian military intelligence supplied WikiLeaks with information obtained from hacking Clinton's Democratic Party and its officials. The report also said U.S. intelligence agencies believe Russian military intelligence, the GRU, used intermediaries such as WikiLeaks, DCLeaks.com, and the Guccifer 2.0 persona to release emails that it had acquired from the Democratic National Committee, or the DNC, and top Democrats as part of the effort. The release of the emails led to embarrassing media coverage for Clinton and triggered the resignation of the DNC's chief. Now, 2 weeks before his inauguration as president, Donald Trump received his own briefing on the report. However, he has refused to endorse its findings and defends the legitimacy of his election win. Vice President-elect Mike Pence told reporters in New York that Trump would act firmly against cyber hacking from the outset.
It was, as the President-elect said, it was a constructive and respectful dialogue. The President-elect has made it very clear that we're going to take aggressive action in the early days of our new administration to combat cyber attacks and protect the security of the American people from this type of intrusion in the future.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump tweeted late on Friday that the Democrats were guilty of gross negligence for allowing hacking to take place. Trump dismissed the Russian hacking claims as a political witch hunt by his opponents. He told the New York Times that U.S. institutions had been the target of previous hacking attacks, but they had not received the same media attention. Now, U.S. intelligence chiefs tells Congress that Russian cyber hacking is a major threat to American national security.
Russia has clearly assumed an even more aggressive cyber posture by increasing cyber espionage operations, leaking data stolen from these operations, and targeting critical infrastructure systems.
Now, last week, President Obama ordered the expulsion of 35 Russian diplomats from the U.S. over the alleged hacking. Russia has said it will not reciprocate. Russia denies the allegations, and WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange said Moscow was not the source for the site's mass leak of emails from the Democratic Party. Meanwhile, cybersecurity legend John McAfee has slammed the allegations that Moscow was involved in hacking the U.S. presidential election, insisting it was, quote, not the Russians. He called the FBI's claims of the Kremlin hacking the Democratic National Committee and Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, a fallacy. Speaking to host Larry King on RT America, he said any number of agencies could have been behind any interference. McAfee believes the whole, quote, Russian hacking narrative is either propaganda intended to incite the American people to anger toward Russia for some reason, or our intelligence community is so ignorant and naive that they should all be replaced.
In there are 4 facts which they claim prove that Russia did this hack. It was utter nonsense. The information was, number 1, Russian language was found in the malware. Number 2, a Cyrillic keyboard was used. By the way, the forensic science can now tell what type of keyboard was used to develop a piece of malware. Number 3, the compiler, that is the piece of software that compiles the code so that it can execute, always dates and timestamps. It said that the timestamps were in a time zone for the business hours of Moscow and St. Petersburg and other places in Russia. And then number 4, that the IP address pointed to a Russian address. Seriously, if Russia declared war on us because we hacked Russia, and the head of the CIA or the intelligence committees came to Congress and they said, well, what happened? Oh, well, you know, we didn't have time to remove the English language. We didn't have time to remove the date stamp. We didn't have time. The guy that couldn't use the Chinese keyboard, so we gave him our regular keyboard. And, you know, it was my wife's birthday, so I could not remove the IP address. Please, that person would be scheduled for suicide. It's propaganda intended to incite the American people to anger toward Russia for some reason, or our intelligence community is so ignorant and naive that they should all be replaced. The hack on the DNC used a piece of malware a year and a half old, and there have been many updates since then. This was done by an independent one-person kid that downloaded the software. And please, this is not an organized hack, and certainly not a nation state that did this.